En er worden nog even mooie foto's geschoten. Zodat deze prachtige verrichting ook vast ligt met de locatie op de achtergrond. Mooie ambiance hier in Boekelo. Keurig aangekleed terrein. En we zien het al als we binnenkomen. Er is hier weer net als altijd heel veel werk verricht door kundige mensen. En zoals doen gebruikelijk even een korte pauze. U ziet het al, de juryleden hebben overleg met elkaar op de onderdelen. En de juryleden, ik heb ze al eerder aangekondigd. De voorzitter van de jury is Andrew Benny uit Nieuw-Zeeland. De jury bij M, dat is Merel Schurink, Nederland. En bij E, Christina Klinkspar uit Zweden. En we gaan om 10 uur van start met de eerste combinatie. Ook meerijdend voor de Nations Cup. En dat is Benjamin Massy uit Frankrijk. Met Climène de Cacao. En het paard, een Frans gefokte van 9 jaar. Een afstamming van Captain Paul. En hij is binnengereden, dames en heren. De combinatie die het spits mag afbijten. Hier tijdens de 50ste editie van de Military van Boekelo Enschede. Uit Frankrijk afkomstig en ook meestrijdend voor de Nations Cup. Er is niemand minder dan Benjamin Massy. Zoals gemeld uit Frankrijk met Clément de Cacao. Frans gefokt paard van 9 jaar oud. Een afstamming van Captain Paul. Eerste combinatie en zal om 10 uur starten.
Now welcome into the arena, our first competitor of the morning here at the Military Bookelo.
Since 2019,
welcome back our grand jury, C. Andrew Benny for New Zealand, M for the Netherlands, Meryl Schoeneck, and E. Christina Klingspor for Sweden.
62 horses coming
first
forward,
going this morning for France, Benjamin Massy
12 countries represented, incorporating the Nations Cup final. 9 teams coming forwards, and we concentrate mainly the focus of today on the team competition. And the first that we see representing France, Benjamin Massy. Benjamin, the first of the French team to come down the centre line. And he is no stranger to Nations Cups, riding the 9-year-old mare by Captain Paul out of Knowles de Bois, Herlot, owned by Valerie Christen. Clément de Cacao and himself. Well, they've been having some good form, these two. Finished just outside the top 5 on their dressage score at Lanière just a couple of weeks ago. Riding 4-star A, and our ground jury members here: Andrew Benny from New Zealand, Christina Klingspor from Sweden, and Meryl Schoeneck from the Netherlands. A very dank, I should hardly have to say, a little trip across on that line. Hopefully that won't stay there. Try and just see if we can get that removed. Few teething errors this morning. Some good steps in the pirouette. Just would like to have seen this mare. She's only 9, but just a little bit more fluid in the pirouette, certainly the first one, but a very good attempt. And then coming back from the extended walk to the collected walk and the pick up into the canter.
Met uw applaus. Je mocht het spits afbijten uit Frankrijk, Benjamin Mossy. Met Clément de Cacao. 9-jarige Frans gefokte paard. En dan krijgen we daar zo dadelijk de punten van in beeld.
Just completing their test. Our first go of this morning here at the Military Bucco and the final leg of the Nations Cup for France. Benjamin Massey, Clément de Cacao, they complete.
Dan gaan we ons opmaken voor een combinatie die de laatste jaren zeer succesvol ook is. Een Duitse combinatie. Ingrid Klimke was vijfde tijdens de onlangs verreden Europese kampioenschappen. Nu aan de start met Equestro Siena Just Do It. Westfaals fokpaard van 9 jaar oud. Tweede combinatie voor vandaag.
Well, as we just sort a few technical issues out here this morning, Benjamin Massey leaves the arena with Clément de Cacao. And our next to go is no stranger either to Buccolo. It is, of course, Ingrid Klimke. Ingrid second to go and the first team member for Team Germany. Fresh back off the back of the run in Avanches at the European Championships. Things didn't quite go to place for them there. But, of course, the reigning, until Nicola Wilson took over the crown, the reigning European champion from Le Moulin back in 2019. Also team gold there, a former team gold medalist twice at Olympic Games in London and Beijing, and then that silver medal from Rio de Janeiro. Back from that crashing fall earlier on in the year, she really is one of the world's toughest riders. Her father, the late Dr. Rainer Klimke, a very good dressage rider, event rider, dressage rider himself, and also Ingrid's daughter doing very well as well, coming up through the ranks of the eventing world. Up for an award, the FEI award for Shining Star, her daughter. So Ingrid bringing forwards today a horse that she thinks an awful lot of. We can give you the score of Benjamin Massey, Clément de Cacao. 36.1 his dressage. 36.1. And Ingrid in the fog, about to come down the centre line with Equestro Siena Just Do It. A 9-year-old mare, another mare by Semper, out of Vonda by Veltrat, bred by Anke Just and owned by Ingrid herself. Ingrid Klimke, Equestro's Siena Just Do It. 9-year-old mare, and this is the second mare and the second 9-year-old mare we've seen this morning. Ingrid so good at her dressage. She rides pure dressage. Quite often at the bigger shows she rides in the dressage as well as the eventing and also the show jumping, as too compatriot Michael Jung does exactly the same. Some lovely big steps. It's really interesting to watch the likes of Ingrid. We saw in Avanches at the European Championships just how much more go these riders had in them, producing these horses to that much more forward way of going. And I think that really does bring in those higher marks into the first of the half passes. So really looking for the regularity in the steps. And I thought she did that really quite beautifully. I think this is quite a difficult movement as well, doing the extended walk on the half circle. A good pick up into the canter, just moving away into this half pass. Again, enough of a difficult move onto the centre line before coming around again this half circle, keeping the balance to the flying change, not anticipating, just slightly did. Got a little bit tense, and you know, with a 9-year-old, you can only expect that. I thought she did a really good job in just making the mare slightly wait for her. Don't go ahead of me. Be mindful of what I'm asking and the training that we've developed together. We'll see here again the half circle onto the centre line with that change of leg on the centre line. Much better this way. She gave the mare a little bit more time. And then just this final centre line, keeping her straight. And a good test from them. You know, there were a few mistakes in throughout, and for a 9-year-old, this is exactly what these competitions are about. Exposing these horses to the new level, to a new level of competition, and get great experience to that young horse, giving her a lovely ride. Mistakes, but they'll both have learned an awful lot from the mistakes that they made. So the first of the team riders, this first line of riders.
Now welcome into the arena for the Netherlands, Jan de Jong with their own and Jentin van Zong's Enjoy. This 12-year-old mare by Cartano. Result in for Ingrid Klinker. And Equestrian Sienna just do it. Judges good marks at C 176.0, at M 164.0.
Well, the score just coming in for Ingrid Klemke and Equestrian Sienna just do it, and they scored 29.2, go into the lead. But I feel I've left the door a little bit open there with a couple of those mistakes. 176, 164, 169.5 from our 3 judges. Andrew Benny, the president of the grand jury, sits at C. Meryl Scharink from the Netherlands at M, and Kiki Klingsborg, Christina Klingsborg from Sweden at E. Technical delegate here at the military Buccolo International Horse Trials for 2021, Philip Searle. As we turn our attention, grey, you'd think you'd be able to see a grey, but not today. difficult enough, I have to say, as Sunny de Jong comes down the centre line. Sunny riding Enjoy, this great campaigner of hers, a horse that's taken her to many brilliant top-class events, many 4 stars, many Nations Cups. They competed here back in 2017, their first visit to Buccolo, and it's been a favourite of theirs, coming back here in 2018, and then it was a miss for them in 2019, but back this year, so great to have them. Sadly didn't go to plan for Sunny on the cross-country in Avange at the European Championships, the horse that she rode there as well. Fairly nice start to the test. You think. It's quite difficult to see, isn't it? But we can just about spot them. Always such a great party atmosphere at Buccolo, one of the last events of the season. A slightly diminished field this year, one feels, with the likes of the 5-star in the USA, that great addition of a new 5-star at Maryland, and also Poe coming up as well. A number of these horses, a number of the riders with 2 championships in 1 year, have slightly exhausted their powers at home. So it's very difficult. 3, 4, 5. You're looking for 6 strides really on the pirouette with the hind legs. Keeping the regularity, keeping the step, and making sure that you've got the activity of the hind leg, that it doesn't just sit in a hold, that you keep moving the hind leg round, but also at the same time the front end being very much part of the horse, keeping the bend. Extended walk on the half circle. Really nice freedom of this horse's shoulder, keeping nice regular steps, and the pickup crucial. You'll see some riders be very tactile there, very clever in the way that they pick up the rein. Just a little bit out of the bridle in the canter transition, and then quickly into the extended canter down the long side, the M to the F marker, and then the collected canter, making the horse sit, collect and shorten. And the mark for the transitions as well, so there's a lot of marks in here. Straightness onto the centre line, then the half circle to the first of the changes. It's got to be at X. Just kicked out behind. And you're actually allowed there to be either side, one horse's length either side. They're quite lenient, the judges. But of course, through correct training, you know that if you have trained your horse correctly, if you've worked your horse correctly, that they will do the transition on the centre line. And a good straight hold. Apologies there, just went a little bit AWOL. I think we're going to actually change the stream. It's not the stream that the host broadcast were supplying or
prestaties dit jaar al
was supposed to
geleverd
come out.
met deze
So
Enjoy.
we're just going to do a little switcheroo. Don't panic, you're not going to miss a thing, especially on FBI TV. You will not miss a hoofbeat, I promise. We will be back with you very, very shortly. We're just going to have a very quick change. And that's exactly how long it took. A couple of seconds in and out, or out and back in, and we're here. That was amazingly fast. Thank you very much, team.
And at E, 155.5, which gives Son de Jong and Enjoy a penalty mark of 33.1.
Mooi vertrekpunt voor Sander de Jong en Enjoy. Een score van 163,5 van de jury bij C, bij M 162,5. En jury bij E een score van 155,5. Totaal omgerekend geeft dat 33,1 minpunt. En op dit moment is dat goed voor de tweede plaats in het tussenklassement. Maar goed, nog de nodige combinaties eraan. We zijn net gestart. We gaan kijken naar een combinatie uit Ierland. Ook meestrijden voor de Nations Cup.
For sure.
Zo, je keeper bestaat uit maximaal 4 combinaties.
Well, from Sonny de Jong, we go to Ireland. And this is Brian Morrison next to come forward.
Van Dakar. En in eigendom van Global Event Horse Limited. En deze Brian Morrison met dit paard. Mooie prestatie dit jaar. 3 wedstrijden geleden. En alle drie op een 9e plaats deze Global DHI.
Global DHI, owned by Global Event Horses Limited, by Dakar, 8-year-old gelding.
Mill Street, ook dus Ierland.
And the Damsire Amethyst, Brian Morrison.
Nations Cup for Ireland. Brian Morrison with the Global Event Horses Limited, Global DHI. Brian Morrison, Ireland.
So Brian Morrison with Global DHI, another one of those riders that came up through the youth program back in the early to mid 2000s, 2009, 2010, I think the time that he spent at young rider level. And then this horse actually went to the young horse championships, which we'll be covering as well. We will be bringing you all of the coverage from the Young Horse Championships at Le Lion d'Angers in just a week or two's time. This horse went to those championships in 2020. Taking a bit of time to get together, these two, but one feels that they are getting there. And I hope we are. Well, hopefully we're back. Brian Morrison with the 8-year-old Global DHI. This is a quick catch-up on the leaderboard thus far. Ingrid Klimke out in front, 29.2. Sonny de Jong, Enjoy, she scored 33.1. And Benjamin Massey first to go for Team France rather, on 36.1. So we've just had the 3 riders so far, as Brian Morrison takes centre stage in the last of his pirouettes. Well, let's see. I mean, let's make the best of a bad situation, because they're trying their best, the team. So coming across on this flying change. From here, looked okay. A little bit tight behind on the last remaining stride from the canter right to the new canter left. Coming on to the half pass. Here we go. This is better. So half pass to the centre line. We'll get there. Bear with us. This is what it's all about. We're live pictures, as you can see, top left-hand corner of your screen. And we're bringing you all of the action. As much as you want it to go right, late behind one stride, clearly there. As much as you want it to go right, it doesn't always work. We're trying our best. And the team in Buccolo, as I am sat at home, not able to get out to Buccolo this year, very sadly. They are doing their utmost.
En met de groet tot de jury bedankt hij de jury voor de aandacht. En uw applaus is voor Brian Morrison uit Ierland met Global DHI. En heel snel krijgen we de punten tegen binnen. Het geautomatiseerde systeem levert ze meteen door. De ontwikkelingen gaan snel verder en dat is heel positief.
Well, as Brian Morrison leaves the arena with the 8-year-old, it's great to see a number of young horses here at these final events, making their way up through the ranks all year. And Brian, a very, very good producer of the young horses. He's a very exciting, I think, very exciting prospect. For Team Ireland. Well, the next that we see coming around the arena, this is a rider representing the United States of America. 7 riders made it across from the US. And it's great to see that a number of them are here. And this is Tamra Smith, our first to go for Team Ireland. Tamra riding the lovely 12-year-old by Dancier, bred by Herbert Shirt, owned by Ruth Blay. This is Danito. Danito, a lovely horse to watch. And a great horse that he's been for her as well. A number of great horses. She was the tough reserve rider for the Olympic Games, made the trip to Tokyo, to Japan with My Baum. Team gold with My Baum at the Pan Am Games in Lima back in 2019. This former rider, John Michael Durr, who rode this horse right at the beginning of his career. I remember this horse being competed, I think I was there at Ocala back in, God, it must be 2016 in one of his very first one stars, and was very impressed with him. And quite often as a young horse you can see them their potential and the attributes to know that these horses will come up through. Seven squad combinations made the journey from America. 4 of them part of the team: Tammy First, Matt Flynn, Sydney Elliott and Jenny Brannigan. Tammy, another ride as well in the individuals. There's a lot to like about this horse. Just thinking about what I would like to see different, and actually I think the horse is going really rather nicely, keeping his head above the parapet. He's doing a really nice job offering her. His rideability looks good, and though at times that was good, I mean, again, he went a little bit quick. He was a little bit fast with his right front leg before the change happened, but actually when the change happened it was a very good change. We watch again as we turn nice and straight onto the centre line, and then moving from the, don't be frightened to move across and keep the forwardness. That was late behind. It was unfortunate. And I think that was just proof in the pudding that I said, don't be afraid to move away from the board when you go across on the diagonal line to the centre line. A super halt, stand, immobilise. Well, I think that's good enough to go into the leads at this stage in the competition. From the test that we've seen, for me, that was the best test that we have seen. Time will tell whether or not the judges were in agreement with that. But I thought that was a really good example of the level of training, and you could tell the difference. He's 12 years old. And we've seen a couple of 9-year-olds, we've seen an 8-year-old. We'll bring you up-to-date scores, we'll bring you team standings, we'll bring you all of those things as we move through the day. We've still got a long way to go. Run right the way through to 3:10 CEST, 2:10 UK time. As next into the arena, a man making his now second appearance at a Nations Cup. He represented Team GB in his first Nations Cup at Houghton Hall with this horse in the 4-star short. Not part of the team, but this time part of the team, and a very big moment for him as well. A very talented rider, a very good guy in the saddle. James Rushbrook riding his own Milcham Eclipse, 9 years old this gelding. And a horse that actually James has a great deal of time for. Ridden this horse pretty much all of his life, and it's one of those, the horse has absolutely no breeding whatsoever, and it's one of those things you just think, wouldn't it be great to know, because he's a great horse in the dressage, he's a very good jumper. It'd be just really nice to know where they came from, but lost at sea, unfortunately, the breeding. James has had some good form with him, though. They've had some pretty good runs. He ran in the recent Blair Castle Horse Trials up in the north of the UK, finishing just outside, if I remember rightly, just outside the top 10. Jumped a good double clear, though. They've had some very good four-star form. Barbary, Bergam, Hartbury and Blair already this year. Their first run at Houghton Hall up in Norfolk in the Nations Cup. I'm not really sure what the weather's supposed to do. I've got a couple of friends out there, a couple of friends that are riding, and a couple of friends on the production team that are working for FEI Media House. So we'll try and get some news if the sun's trying to burn through. But if you think that here in the UK it's 9:37, in the Netherlands, it is 10:37, and it's still pretty cloudy. And these are live pictures that we're bringing you. Just getting a little bit stuck in his pirouettes. That will just keep his score down. First team member for Great Britain. Great Britain very successful in the Nations Cups. They've had some really good performances this year. I just think there's possibly, with Milton Eclipse, just a little bit of tension creeping in with him. James doing a really good job. Just 9 years old. And if of the horses we've seen, Danito, by far the oldest, on 24.7. That is her score. So Tamara Smith does go into the lead, as I'd hoped. Ingrid Klimke second with 29.2, 9-year-old. Enjoy, a 12-year-old. Sally de Jong in third. And just trotting behind in that flying change, Global DHI, an 8-year-old. 9-year-old from Benjamin Massey, first to go. And 9-year-old with Milton Eclipse here, first of the Brits. And we're concentrating, as I said on the opening piece, that we're concentrating mainly on the team riders here today. Individuals come tomorrow more. So just watching for that hind leg. Yeah, much better. He rode much more forwards into the second flying change. Well, at the end of his test, James Rushbrook with his own 9-year-old Milton Eclipse, a few mistakes. They were quite costly. I think the flying change, the 2 pirouettes. but a great experience for James as he leaves the arena. He's a great guy. Met him a few times, had a couple of interviews for not only FBI but for Horse and Country as well. He's just a very popular rider, very hard working, and the score coming in for him. Well, the provisional score for James Rushbrook, 40.9, goes into 6th place at the moment. Well, we're now going into the second rotation of riders. Remember that we have 9 teams represented, but with 6 of them, with only 3 members. We go now into the second rotation. Because we have France and then Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Ireland, United States, Sweden, Belgium and Great Britain. Great Britain with 4, Belgium with 3, Sweden with 3, USA with 4, Ireland with 4, and of course the rest with 4. But down the centre line now comes Jireg Lecoz with Caramel Dorches. This is a 9-year-old, another 9-year-old by Snike de Blondel out of Jacarilla Verte, the dam sire of this 9-year-old is Apache d'Adrière, bred by Pascal Gatescoop and Monique Philippe, and owned by Jireg Lecoz himself. This horse 10th in the 4-star long Stregon back in June. Can't see much more than you, so not going to lie. Yeah, not getting any clearer, is it? Difficult to see from this angle, and clearly we're just experiencing a few more technical issues, but it's very difficult to see from what we are. But we've got a horse in the screen, and we're lucky to have that. We could have a black screen. We don't have that. Into the first of the pirouettes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 5 to 7. Ideally, the steps. Again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just getting a little bit stuck. You can see the hind leg, and the white hind legs making that look even more obvious. That the hind legs weren't stepping. They weren't travelling around on the circle. Extended walk on the half circle. And then pick up into the canter. From here, good second, third stride, just a little bit tight. So I think there's a little bit of tension in there. Let's see what happens now from the extended, because it's not long from the extended before they come into the half-past half circle change. He's disappeared momentarily, now into the half pass, centre line, and then this is where a little bit of tension can creep in on this half circle, funnily enough, because you're closing the canter down. Now just let them travel a little bit. And from here, I haven't got my binoculars, but from here it looked okay. And we come to the half pass again. I'm laughing, and not because of the dresser, it's just because of the slight hilarity of what I'm looking at, which is a tiny horse, as well. I expect you are too, and not being able to see much. What can you do? I mean, you know, we've got pictures. And I think that, I mean, from here, 10. Why not? It's where I think, I mean, look, they're probably working on it. I've got no comms with a lot of people. I'm sure that they're trying their best to bring us pictures. But for now, Jurek Lacoz with Caramel Dorches completes their test, and we'll go to the leaderboard, see where that puts him for now. And it was a pretty nice, well, we think it was pretty nice. I mean, it looked all right from here. Who knows? Well, another grey making their way around the arena. This is the turn, another 9-year-old. This is Marlin Hansen Hotop with Carlitos Quidditch K, 9-year-old Holsteiner by Kiwi Dream out of Amsterdam by San Patrignano Cassini, bred by Miriam Kuhl and owned by Bodil Ibsen. Hope you're enjoying what we are bringing you. It could be a black screen. It's not a black screen. We've just got a horse. We can't see much. I can see what you can see. That is as far as we're going. And I think the team are working on trying to bring us the other camera work. We may have to wait till the break. We've only got a couple left to go before the first break here in the arena. We've got 3 left, and then the break. They may well. Here we go. There's a close-up of a horse. It was almost like a but Marlin Hansen Hotop coming into the arena. Lovely 9-year-old grey. It's so nice to see these young horses stepping up onto the main stage. Well, Marlin, another one of those. I saw her riding this horse in Aachen, and one that just had, and the show jumping in Aachen caused so much trouble, and I have to say that she rode this horse beautifully and just had the one fence down. finished just outside the top 10 with this 9-year-old. Carlitos Quidditch-K, a horse that she's known all of his life. Also watched them jump round Arville in Belgium. Commentated on that there for them. 9 years old he is, and very much stepping up to 4-star. Did his very, very first 4-star at Babarowko in Poland in September of 2020. And since then has really grabbed the bit. Rarely finishing out of the top 15. Really consistent, this horse becoming. And interestingly, watching him from Arville to Aachen, to here, a little bit of a skip in the walk. He knows what's coming, but just how much stronger, more mature he's looking every time I see him. It's a difficult one when you come back from the walk, collect, to go on again, and another mistake there in the extended to collected. He's a big horse to collect, and he just found that quite a lot. And you often find that with the bigger horses when they come back from the collection into the from the extension into the collection, that they get a little bit muddled behind, and he just did that. Trying to keep the frame light, move him off the boards to the flying change and prepare, and that was a good flying change with good air time, clear in his legs, clear in his body. So just this final centre line. As Marlin Hansen Hotop and Carlitos Quidditch-K leaves the arena, the grey mist. I think there was a solid performance, solid enough. You know, we've seen a number of 9-year-olds, we've seen a number of young horses, and actually this horse has coped really well in the conditions. In another 4-star of 2021, watching him in Aachen, watching him in Arville, and then coming here to Buchelo. He just is getting better, he's getting more mature. And the score in for Carlitos Quidditch-K, 31.7, goes into third place behind Ingrid Klimke and Equistros Sienna Just Do It. Danito for the United States of America, Tamara Smith still leads on 24.7. As we go now to the first of the Italians, and only with a 3-man team, 3-man, 3-girl mixed team. This is Evelina Bertoli, and she is riding here today Fiji de Melezis, 10-year-old mare by Aga Khan, the dam-sire Beardeo, owned by Evelina herself. She rode another one of those riders to come up through the youth system. She came up through the juniors, ponies, juniors, young riders. Rider that first represented Italy at the World Equestrian Games in Normandy, Caen, back in 2014 with Fiji de Melezes, horse that was first brought out by the Belgian rider Roland Quadback, and then by Gert Adriansen. Then Evelina picked up the reins back end of 2019, early part of 2020. And they've been having some good form, very much in the early stages of their four-star career. They competed in their first four-star at the site, which will be the World Championships in 2022, Praternito Vivaro. Rome, all roads lead to Rome next year. Keeping a good amount of activity in the hind leg in that walk, because there was potential of it just to go very stagnant, very staged. And by that I mean that she had to keep the fluidity. And again, nicely written there in the first pirouette. No trade stands keen to open this morning. Well, a few at the bottom end, but not really very many people keen to open this morning. So coming into this, what is the extended walk on the half circle, and I always think this is quite difficult to ride because you've got to keep the horses upright. You've got to make sure that they stay in front of your leg on this half circle. Lengthen the step, lengthen the outline, keep moving to the bridle, keep moving through the shoulder, and then shorten on that SHC line without them jogging. We saw with the grey earlier on, he did exactly that. And then the extension, well, the extension comes from M, so it's really a question of out of the corner, bullet out of a gun, down the long side, collect, and then from the side of the arena to the half pass to the centre line. So K is this first moment here, K to X, and then X is the straight ahead to I, and then I, you do your half circle, and then R, XV with the flying change. Ooh dear. Well, we'll hope the second one works out. It's interesting because they're both prepared in the same way. So half pass, half circle. So half pass to the centre line, straight for one marker, invisible to invisible. Half circle, diagonal line, change. And it's the same exercise repeated on both reins. So there's no getting away from it. You've got to do it, but the horses know. Keep moving forwards. Gone a little bit tight in the neck, so a little bit late behind in that flying change then. And then this final centre line. I think you should be fairly pleased that this is over. There were some very nice parts. When the mistakes came, they were clear, and that's just unfortunate at this stage that, you know, with Fiji de Melezes, 10 years old, another mare. it'll get better. I mean, there's still a lot to like, and a great experience for both of them. Hope you're enjoying the action. We're getting much more into the groove. We had a few technical issues this morning. Binoculars were out, as too were the night vision, because we couldn't see a thing in the arena. I mean, it was just incredibly foggy. It is lifting slowly. I think I'm going to text a few people in the break, which is coming up in just a few horses' time, just to see what the weather conditions are doing out there. Or if anybody's watching and you are there, then do message in and let me know what's going on. Because it's difficult for the horses, it's difficult for the riders, it's been even more difficult for us sitting at home. And I don't know where you're watching. Do message in if you're watching around the world. It'd be great to hear from you. And if you've got any questions, again, message in, and we'll try and bring you... try and answer your questions, and if we can't answer them, then they'll be ignored. No, they won't. We'll try and answer your questions as much as we can. But we're here. The 50th anniversary, it is, of the military Buccolo Horse Trials. Played host to this Horse Trials, and my goodness me, we've seen some amazing competition unfold in the last 5 decades of top-class eventing. 2019 was the last time we were here. We're back, 2021, and the final of the Nations Cup. We've got 62 horses, 12 countries, 9 teams for the Nations Cup. We're very much in the thick of the second line riders from many countries. We have 6 teams of 4, 3 teams of 3, and of course it is all the scores to count for the 3s. The best 3 scores to count from the teams of 4. Meryl Blom making her way down the arena. Meryl, who had that awful time at the Olympic Games in Tokyo with the Quizmaster, jumped incorrect form ABCDE. It was very complicated. She jumped the wrong fence. It took a long time for them to pull her up. They did in the end. And that was the sad end to her day. She also rode at the Olympic Games in Rio with the fabulous Rumour Has It. She's here with another super horse, and a horse I think a lot of as well. I know she does, and it's a really nice young horse by Diarado. Great jumping lines, the 8-year-old gelding. And this is Cross Border Radar Love NOP, owned by Jeannie Stinches. And these two very much on the uphill trajectory of their career. Meryl rode this horse at Le Lion d'Angers, finishing 8th last year in the 7-year-olds. Also rode this horse as a 6-year-old at Le Lion d'Angers, and we will be bringing you that on FEI TV as well, so don't miss anything. 3rd in the 4-star at Stregon last month with a very good performance. Meryl, so experienced, great ambassador for the sport. Great ambassador for the Dutch team, for the Netherlands, and to be competing on home soil, it's a great experience for the young horses, moreover. What's nice to see in this horse, another, as we said, another, or as I said, let's not blame anybody else, another 8-year-old, is that he's showing a lot of maturity. A lot of maturity in the way that he listens to Merrill, and I always think of things like a telephone conversation, and especially in the fog, you've got to keep that level of communication up. You and I are chatting. If I get bored or you get bored, one of us is going to hang up eventually. Like there, he's now just hung up on her. She maybe needs to intensify the chat a little bit more just to keep him more online, in inverted commas. Because it's very easy for the young horse to get distracted, whether or not that was a small child that shouted, or, you know, was a trade stand opening. All those things the horses may never have seen before in their entire lives. And also remember, we have been competing behind closed doors. We have seen no crowds. There aren't many there today, let's face it. But there are people. It is different. Ooh, small mistake there. That's just a little bit of a miscommunication, a little bit of an experience. And now she's got to hold his hand in the flying change. It came early. There is a length of horse either side of the X, either side of the centre line. That was about 3 or 4. But you know what? He did it. And you can't tell him off. It is like, not that I would, it is like smacking a puppy for doing nothing wrong. He tried, and you have to reward that. And she'll try and ride this one a little bit better. Keep him down the rein, out in front of her. And a good change. And that's what he's now rewarded her. Because she didn't get upset. Now he wants to do tempi changes down the centre line. Not this year. Maybe next year. But she didn't tell him off for his first one. She allowed the small mistake, and then for the want of him trying, she was rewarded with a much better flying change for the second. So well done her. That was her experience very much shining through. Brilliant, brilliant job. Well, we've just got one left to go before the first break here at the Military Buccolo International Horse Trials, celebrating the 50th anniversary. And it's one for Ireland. And if you don't have or would like to have the start list, then you can certainly find that. And the way you find it is to go on to a website called Rechensteller, which I'll give it a quick spell. It is RECHENSTELLE. I'll post it on Facebook in the comments. See if we can get a link up there, or I'll post a link in there for you for the scores. And hopefully that will give you, here we go, I'm doing it right now. This is how live we are. Copy, and then it's going to go straight into the live. Paste it, paste, and there's the scores. So you can find the scores on there, and the leaderboard and the start lists of today, tomorrow, the trot-ups, everything else. So do have a look on there. That's how this works. I didn't know I was so techie. Pat on the back. So the last to go before the first break. And it's only about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, the break. So just enough time to make yourselves a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. It is for Ireland, and we welcome coming around. And Royal Bounty. Another one of those lovely young horses by Restus, owned by James O'Callaghan, bred by Miriam Defoe. And this is the mare of this Edge of Reason and the Damsire Senang Hattie representing Ireland. So the second team rider for Ireland, we saw earlier Brian Morrison, Global DHI, score 34.9. Regal Bounty, Felicity Ward, about to come into the arena, and the bell goes from the president of the ground jury, Andrew Benny. She swings right-handed to come down the centre line. Regal Bounty, the 10-year-old horse that she rode at Le Lion d'Angers as a young horse in the 6-year-old championships. Stepped up to 4-star at Ballandenesque a couple of years ago, and they finished 6th in the 4-star long at Mill Street behind Bill Levitt, who won the 4-star there with if I remember rightly, won the 4-star. This is now a couple of months ago. Lates Quinn, he won the 4-star on. Just a little bit of tension in his brain today. She's riding him good. She's having to work quite hard with him. He's a little pocket rocket and not necessarily finding always the dressage the easiest phase. He averages 4-star level around the 36 mark. 36, 37, and trending today around the 38, 39. Just a little bit of weakness behind, so it'll be interesting to see the flying change. That she was pretty well prepared and she did a very good job. I had to see a little bit more bend through his rib cage. Just goes a little bit stiff on her. Well, the last to go before the break, Felicity Ward with Regal Bounty at the end of their test, and Regal Bounty will get the score in for them as they leave the arena, but we will go on to a short break now. We're back at 11:32 CEST, that's 10:32 UK time. Wherever you're watching all around the world, it'd be great to hear from you. Matthew Flynn will get us back under the way with Wizard for the United States of America, Christopher Forsberg, and then Sepe Verlaine, Nicola Wilson, the newly crowned individual European champion and team gold medalist from the European Championships, Cool Park Sarko, the horse that's been on very, very good form, Heike Janiger for Germany, Tim Lips, Parry McCarthy, Sydney Elliott, and Lena Forsberg sees us into the lunch break in the next 12 horses, or so 11 horses at 11:32. The score in for Regal Bounty, 39.9, goes into 10th place. So the leaderboard, the top three going into the break, is Tamara Smith for the USA, Danito, 24.7. Second, Ingrid Klimke, Equistro Siena Just Do It on 29.2. And in third place for Italy, Evelina Bertoli and Vigi de Melezes on 31.6. They're the top three. We'll be back at 11:32 CEST, 10:32 for the next 11. We'll see you then.
Bovenste er even uithalen. Daar op je camera de bovenste.
Well, Christopher Forsberg with Con Classic. A few issues going on again as the fog is lifting in the Netherlands. Con Classic, a horse that he rode at the 2019 Young Horse Championships at Le Lion d'Angers, and the 6-year-olds, and himself, and one of those riders that came up through the juniors and young riders. He represented at his senior first representation was at Le Moulin back in 2011. Former individual and team bronze medalist, team silver medalist as well. We'll just try and get a couple of things sorted out for you. Or Christopher Forsberg with the lovely horse that has done actually a very good test here in the arena. Classic 2, scoring provisionally 32.8, and goes into 32.4 goes. So the next to go, representing Belgium, this is Seppe Verlaine with Gouden de la Cour Z, a 13-year-old by Clarion Dancer, the Dame Sire Bis de la Mer. This is a horse that was bred by Van Olbeke, Demian Van Olbeke, and owned by Steve Verlaine. Seppe Verlaine, Gouden de la Cour Z, representing Belgium. We're back, hopefully back with everybody as we just watch the Belgian Seppe Verlaine and Gouden de la Cour coming round into their extended walk on the half circle. Interesting, this another horse that has had some good experience. He rode this horse at the Young Rider European Championships back in 2019. always been mega reliable, this horse, but they've had some much better form of late. They won the 3-star long at Montelibretti in Italy with a 31 dressage, and here again he's a bit of a cheeky chap. "13 years old. Just goes a bit funny in his mouth, and you know, watching him, I think he does a really good job. And it's not very nice when they do down tools like that. Very straight in his half pass. And I think that's probably damage limitation as opposed to anything else. But he rode that much better. But a cheeky few moments will drop his score down. And he will come out. I'm not sure if you're getting the screens I keep getting, but look, we're trying to deal with it. We're trying to get through day one and come out to day two, and hopefully all of the problems will be ironed out. Not easy to cope with, not easy to deal with. Well, the next to go is a girl that is riding on the crest of a very, very big wave. Nicola Wilson. Nicola with this fabulous little horse. She is, of course, the reigning individual European champion from Avanches with JL Dublin. She was part of that gold medal winning team as well. She finished on her dressage score 20.9 at the European Championships. This horse, called Park Sarko, is off the back of a very good win in the 4-star for 8 and 9-year-olds, the 4-star short at Blenheim just a few weeks ago. Again, finishing on her dressage of 29.8. And Nicola, who was part of the silver medal winning team at the London 2012 Olympic Games with Opposition Buzz, the horse with his unique style of going. And she's been a former individual bronze medalist with Balana 2017 in the Europeans and Team Gold. She is just one of Britain's stars. Very much this horse is exciting. A 9-year-old gelding. A horse that is owned by Joe and Joanna and James Lambert, by Shannondale Sarko St. Given, bred by Michael Burke at the Shannondale Stud. And I wish we could see more, but we've got what we've got. I can see what you can see. So just eyes on. Looking like a very good pirouette, not to let the horse overtake. Well, I think I'm going to speak for all of you guys at home that have tuned in to watch Nicola. It's just a shame we haven't got the cameras. I don't quite know what's going on, but we'll try and get it fixed. Live, always a bit of an issue. Nicola just coming into the and we're going to see the flying change will be going away from us on that diagonal line. It looked good from behind. I was zoomed in. So I can only apologise. We've lost comms, we've lost pictures, we've lost everything. It's all been thrown at us here this morning. I can tell you that her score at the moment is trending around the mid-20s. Tamra Smith and Donito are leading on 24.7 for the United States of America. And Nicola, well, she could go up there as well. Could she go into the leads? We will find out very shortly. She is definitely having the time of her life out there on the eventing circuit at the moment, with the win at Blenheim in the 8 and 9-year-old class with this horse called Park Sarko, 9 years old, bred by Michael Burke, owned by Joanna and James Lambert. Well, Coward de la Cour Z and Sepa Villain 37.0 goes into 13th place. Just waiting for a couple of scores to come in for Nicola and Cool Park Sarko. Looks like they've gone into 25 into second place, just behind Donito Tamra Smith. We'll get that confirmed, but for now, provisionally has gone into second, with Equistro, Sienna Just Do It, and Ingrid Klimke for Germany in third, 29.2. Just behind Tamra Smith, Nicola Wilson, second team rider for Team GBR. Of course, the first of those, James Rushbrook, Milcham Eclipse, scored 40.9 in second. Well, now we go back to France, and this is Camille Lejeune. And that score has now, I think that has been confirmed for Nicola. 25.6 goes second. Well, now it's the time of Camille Lejeune. Camille riding here today. He rides Dame de Coeur, Pardon. This is a horse that he rode. It's interesting seeing a number of the horses come here after another stage platform. We saw and we see that happen quite a lot. This horse finished 5th in the 7-year-old championships at Le Lion d'Angers last year, and she's very much a mare, this now 8-year-old by Lando, the Damsire contender, owned by Sarah Gospondenik and bred by Gilbert Galliot. And Camille Lejeune, 5th also at Aradapin back in August in the 4-star short. So very, very talented 8-year-olds, Salle-Français bred. Camille, very good rider in the dressage phase. Well, great to see a number of you watching. We've got Jennifer Flint watching from Australia. Just had a message in from Annie Heron as well, watching from the UK. Great to have you all with us, guys. And apologies for we saw Nicola Wilson's test then from a bird's eye view. We seem to have our cameras back working again as Camille Lejeune comes in with this 9-year-old mare. Dame de Coeur Dardon. Lovely type, and a mare that's not been out of the top 5 in her last 2 appearances. Just tapping the board. It's quite interesting watching the horses when they do that. I mean, the braveness of this mare just doesn't seem to bother when she hits the boards. A little bit excited in the flying change. Well, Camille Lejeune and the lovely little 9-year-olds, I have to say, she was way out in front at one point. Dame de Dadon, but dropping down a couple of places with a few tiny errors in the canter work. A little bit of tension coming through at times as well, but she is just such a lovely horse to watch, and he's such a lovely rider on the flat as well. Well, just watching that score, it is changing all the time. Camille Lejeune, Dame de Dadon coming in at about 29.9 at the moment. And just dropping down a little bit more. In fact, that now looks like it's confirmed at 30.1 for Camille Lejeune, and Dame de Dadon at 30.1 goes into 4th place for France. It'll be interesting because the first French rider, team rider, Carmel Dautiers and Gireg Lecoz scored 34.0 in 10th place. Well, next to join us is a rider representing Germany. This is Heike Janka with Mighty Spring. Heike, Mighty Spring, another one that went to Le Lion d'Angers as a 6-year-old back in 2017. Mighty Spring, now 11 years old, by Mighty Magic, the Damside Land Classic, and this is owned by Carsten and Heike Janka, and also Kusta Janka. So as a 7-year-old, now 11, this horse, having gone to the 6-year-olds in 2017. Mighty Spring finished 3rd in the 4-star short at Sopot in Poland. Really nice steps in the walk. Heike Janka, Mighty Spring. Just that trot work. You know, if you think about how effective the marks are throughout the test, and we unlike previous years, we just have the coefficient right at the end of the test now for the harmony of horse and rider. But the transitions are getting marks. No longer is the walk a coefficient of 2, very expensive to walk, but it's still very, very important. Each individual phase, again, there's a small mistake in the half pass, just a little wobble off the half pass line. See if we're better this way. A little bit like you and I, right-handed, left-handed, and finds much easier the half pass left, much easier than the half pass right. And again, finishing it off and riding a centre line and making sure that the centre line is absolutely bang on. Little bit of a croup high flying change, but it was fairly good. And then again, quarters just leading on that straight side. Well, score coming in then for Heike Janka and Mighty Spring representing Team Germany. 36.8 and the range of marks 136.5, 138.5, 155.0. Again, thinking about how those marks differ when there's 22 movements in a test, and just half a mark can make the big difference between that, but it is still only 62 to 64. It's still only about 2 and a little bit % difference, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. Mighty Spring, Heike Janka, 36.3, goes into 14th place. So the leaderboard, Tamara Smith, Danito lead the way for the USA, 24.7. Nicola Wilson, Cool Park Sarko for Great Britain in second, 25.6. And in third for Germany, Ingrid Klimke, the Christo Siena Just Do It on 29.2. Camille Lejeune just dropping into fourth for France, Dame de Coeur Dadon on 30.1. Well, now representing Italy, this is Giulio Guglielmi for Italy, and he is riding Ulan de Epine, 13-year-old by Dauphine de Sabina, and the dam sire of this 13-year-old. Is Hurlevant, owned by Giorgio Guglielmi, as well as Nika Attolico Guglielmi. We're doing so well so far, so good. He rode a very good horse up through the young rider systems, the former ride of Margaret Kinsella, although Delamere, Mark Duffy also rode Cattle Daniels Road as well, if I remember, Mr. Brightside, to a number of great successes, and Giulio, a very good rider, and he's one of those, you know, grabbing this chance with both hands. Rode this horse in Monteleretti in Italy beginning of this year, and also at the Nations Cup in 2020. Been a partnership for a bit now and getting very much to know each other. Former Cedric Liard ride. Giulio Guglielmi doing a good job. It's not easy, you know, and sometimes the horses, how God put them together, different to others, but he's doing a really good job. Well, Annie just asked about the times for the GB riders. We've had two. We have today William Foxpitt. He goes after lunch 2:07, and then Izzy Taylor will be last to go at 3:10. Make sure you're tuning in. I'll post the link again if it'll go for the results on Reckensteller. I'm doing that right now, copying, going back to the Facebook, and I'm pasting, and here we go. So these are you can find the start list here and the results of the competition here in Buccolo. Well, they're in Buccolo. I'm not in Buccolo. I'm in the UK. That's why we have, I think, a few issues, because we're not there. We're having to do it remotely. It's the way of the times. It's how things have sadly evolved, sadly changed, but that is the way we are going. So Julio Guglielmi and Erlan de Lepit completing their test, and a provisional score for Julio of 36.1. We will get that confirmed in just a second. While running alongside the horse trials here, of course, the Dutch National Championships, and a man that is no stranger to those, having finished runner-up in the Dutch National Championships. It is Tim Lips, Tim riding Lady Chin van Mordeven-Zed. Lady Chin van Mordeven-Zed by Lord Chin, 11 years old this mare, Zangerscheid bred, owned by Yulu Hungfen-Chen. And these two, well, sadly at Stregom, withdrawn after I remember it well, after the last horse inspection. And that was in fact TMX Herbie. He's got here today this lovely mare, and she is, I have to say, getting better and better and better. Watching them over the course of the last few weeks, months, years, getting together. So just coming down the centre line. I think that sounds louder than it is. Just loving watching this horse in the dressage. Well, Tim Lips then completing his test. And this is a really interesting combination, just watching these two, because they have been together such a short time. This is the horse that was ridden in Tokyo by Huan Dong-sun. But to come on to an event like this after being with a rider for such a long time, and Huan Dong, who had this horse probably since the back end of 2017, after being ridden at the Young Horse Championships in 2017 rather, as a 6-year-old by Anouchene Wouters for Belgium, then went on to the Chinese rider. Great success they had together, and I was just really fascinating to see Tim riding this horse, because he's capable of a very good test. And with Huan Dong-sun in Tokyo, I mean, not only did they go well, but he was a very impressive horse to watch. And now, first international with Tim Lips, and by the looks of things, he's going to threaten that lead of Tamara Smith and Danito, first time out on the international circuit for Lady Tjint van der Moer van Zed and Tim Lips for the Netherlands. He could be vying for that top spot here in Boekelo in the Netherlands as we go down the leaderboard again. And that'll be interesting, won't it? That being confirmed, it might just be, it is being confirmed, 2.2 ahead. So Tim Lips leads Lady Tjint van der Moer van Zed on 24.5. Just 0.2 behind on 24.7 is Tamara Smith for the United States of America, Danito. And third, Nicola Wilson, Cool Parks, Sarko on 25.6. Well, we're down into the last three to go, and this is now for Ireland. This is Porrig McCarthy. Porrig riding the very exciting MGH Tokyo Phil, owned by Carla Pugh, by Wings out of Sudoku, and this horse, I know a horse that he thinks a lot of, and very, very exciting horse for the future. Tokyo Phil. Well, Phil is still quite a young horse, in 10 years old, by Morpokey, the dam sire, bred by wife Lucy Wiegersma. And Porrig, who very sadly announced, probably quite rightly, the retirement of Leonidas at the European Championships in Avanches, having gone very well cross country, came into the show jumping on Sunday and just was full of beans. But MGH Tokyo Phil, a lovely horse, and Porrig, who rode at his first games in Rio with Simon Paulo. He also won the individual silver and the team silver at the World Equestrian Games in Tryon with wife Lucy Wiegersma's former ride, Mr. Chunky. You may remember, you may not, I don't know, the wonderful book series that was out there, and it was the life of Tokyo Phil. Hilarious, 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 hilarious. And it basically showed the journey of a plump homebred 5-year-old to Olympic superstar, and some very funny stories if you ever did follow. Well, I've lost sound. I don't know if you've lost sound, but maybe just another little glitch. Well, Tokyo Phil is, as I said, 10 years old. Porrig had ridden this horse all the way up through the system. Competed at a number of 4 stars. Not that many, only in really recent times. But a horse he thinks an awful lot of. I definitely know that. This is a very, very good test. Just a little bit of a wobble. He's such a nice guy, Porrig, as well. Former show jumper turned event rider. And he absolutely loves it. And, you know, he's a great producer of the young horses. He's a great producer and maintainer of horses at top class level. Pleasure to watch, and you know, produce this horse so lovely, so beautifully, and that is a test that you would hope as a 10-year-old. If we look at the horses' ages that we've got in the leaderboard in the top 4 so far, Lady Chintvant Mordavan Z is 11, Danito 12, Cool Park Sarko 9, and MGH Tokyo Phil 10. He's now gone into 4th place. A brilliant result for him on 27.6. So some really exciting young horses right at the top of the leaderboard. Some very, very, very exciting young prospects. Well, just 2 left to go, and it's 1 for the United States of America, 1 for Sweden before the lunch break here in Buccolo. And we're just catching up with now Sydney Elliott making her way round. And this is our second team rider for Team USA. We already had Tamara Smith, the first out. And this now the second rider. In fact, third rider, Matthew Flynn. This is our third rider. All the team riders pretty much today. Tomorrow we see individuals. And it's all the individual riders tomorrow. But all the teams will have completed, which is great because we'll have a team score at the end of today. 9 teams, 6 teams with 4 riders, 3 teams with 3 riders. And that is fantastic news as Sydney Elliott comes down the centre line with QC Diamantaire. And Sydney herself, a very, very accomplished rider. 7 riders made it across the pond to compete here. And QC Diamantaire, the horse that she rode in the 5-star, finishing inside the top 20 at Lexington, Kentucky back in April. A horse that she knows very well. She's brought this horse on all the way through the ranks. And that is no mean feat to do that. And a nice start for them. QC Diamantaire by Diarado, the very well-known jumping sire. And the dam sire Sandro Hit, bred by Berthold Gerds and owned by Carol Stevens. It's so nice when the horses come up through the grades with the riders the whole way, because it's not an easy sport to stay in. And quite often horses are sold or have to be sold in order to pay for the sport, because it is very expensive. And it's a very sad part of the journey, I suppose. There's no other way of putting it, no other way of saying, you know, that you have to do what's necessary to stay in the sport. As great as owners are, and they are the pivotal part of a lot of these riders' lives and a lot of the horses' lives, you just have to survive. And it's not just about eating beans on toast, because you can't live on that being an athlete. So we're back to our bird's eye camera. Hard to see the overtrack, but you can definitely see the transitions from the extended to the collected before she picks up the canter. And QC Diamantaire very much staying on her aids as she comes around the corner, preparing for that canter strike-off. And we go straight into the extended. From there, you saw the boom into the extended canter, and it's all the way down to the far end, and then the collection. I've got a thing on my screen which I can't get rid of here, which I'd love to get rid of. No. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But I couldn't see the corner. So we're back now to the half past to the centre line, change. That from here looked good. So the last to go before the break, Lena Forsberg with Kaisen for Sweden. Oh, here we go. Back with our cameras. Very weird sitting here watching the dressage. I don't have any sound. Can't hear anything. Good change. It's sad not being in Buccolo. I love going. Always loved as a rider going to Buccolo. Always loved as a commentator going to Buccolo. So, Sydney Elliott for the United States of America, completing their test, and will be a fairly good one. It's not going to take the lead, but it should be a sub 30, that is for sure. We've got one left to go before the lunch break. We break for about an hour, and then we're back for about an hour and a quarter. You often wonder why they don't keep going through the lunch break and just get done, but I suppose the judges, they judge 22 horses and then have a break and then come back for another 11. But we've got some great numbers coming through into this afternoon with Lara de Lidecker-Kamara, William Fox-Pitt, Sydney Defresne, Sophie Löber, Tosca Brambilla, Geordie Velkin, Susanna Berry, Susie Berry, Jenny Brannigan, Sandra Gustafsson, Martin Boone, and Izzy Taylor last to go. But this is the last to go here this morning. Is it? Yes, just about. Still this morning. This is Lena Forsberg. Lena coming forwards, representing Sweden. We already saw Christopher Forsberg. And she rides Kaizen. Hopefully. Coming round the corner in a minute. Come on now. Kaizen for Sweden, 13-year-old by Carasini, the Dam Madame Butterfly, and the Dam Sire of this horse Nocturne, bred by Johan Bork and owned by Marie Forsberg. Lena Forsberg coming down the centre line, the last to go before the break. A very bad fall a few years ago, Christopher. We talk about Lena and Christopher, but it's such a hard sport, this. A very nice start to her test. Interestingly, this horse, this grey, seen him out. She does such a nice job with him. Horse that she rode at the Young Rider European Championships, picking up a team bronze back in 2018, Kaizen. Rode this horse in the 3-star at Cornbury in the United Kingdom, finishing inside the top 10 with a double clear. Also rode this horse at Burnham Market in the 4-star short back end of last year. Did a great performance there as well. Trending around 28.5 at the moment. the change. Well, it just jumped out of her hand more than anything. The first one didn't happen. The second one was better. 13 years old, Swedish warm blood. Yeah, I mean, they could have been much better, really. She's pleased. There were some very, very nice moments in that test, don't get me wrong. But when you want to be at the top of the leaderboard, then you have to do, you can't have mistakes. You can't have, we still to this day call it a clear round in the dressage. You've got to have that clear round in the dressage. You can't afford to have a pole down or a mistake. But still, with that mark, and if we think about where he was sub 30, and with those couple of mistakes, Kaizenheat drops him down a couple of places because he was lying about third or fourth at one point. I think just trying to think, Lena and Christopher, I think they're siblings, related somehow. Christopher Forsberg, of course, who is with Sophia Sjöberg, an international rider. But just great to be here. She's had the time of her life out there. And with those little mistakes, it is interesting to see where they go. But I think she's going to stay sub 30, just about hang on to it. But she could have been much higher without the mistakes that came in the canter. So 29.4 for Lena Forsberg and Kaizen for Sweden. In the individual standings going into the lunch break, it is the Netherlands' Tim Lips and Lady Chint van Moerven-Zed who lead 24.5, just 0.2 ahead of the United States of America and Tamara Smith Danito on 24.7. Nicola Wilson for Great Britain, Coolpark Sarko lie third on 25.6, with the United States Sydney Elliott QC Diamantaire in fourth on 26.7. Porrig McCarthy, the highest placed Irish rider, MGH Tokyo Phil, the 10-year-old by Wings, sits well in fifth on 27.3. Ingrid Klimke, the highest placed German rider, Equistro Siena Just Do It on 29.2. Lena Forsberg goes seventh on 29.4 with Kaizen. In eighth, Kimura Lejeune, Dame de Coeur d'Adam on 30.1. Ninth for Italy's Evelina Bertoli and Fiji de Melezes on 31.6. And rounding out the top 10, it's Marlin Hansen Hotop and Carlitos Quidditch K on 31.7. Where we go to have a look at the leaderboard in the team situation, because that is going to be very much hotting up, and it is going to be very interesting going through to the last line riders. But at the moment, going into the lunch break, United States of America lead on 83.6. In second, the Netherlands on 92.2. In third, Germany on 97.2. And in fourth, France on 100.2. But there are still a lot of riders still to come. Third and fourth line riders, of those, the first to go, Lara de Lidekerke-Mar for Belgium at 2 o'clock CEST. That is 1 o'clock BST, British Summer Time. William Fox Pitt amongst them, Sidney Defresne, Sophie Loeber, Tosca Brambella, Jordi Wilkens, Susie Berry, Jenny Brannigan, Sandra Gustafsson, Martin Boone and Izzy Taylor. The 11 left to go. It's going to be very, very hot. The teams will be decided who will be leading going into the dressage tomorrow, because it's all individuals in the dressage tomorrow. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far as the judges make their way for a lunch break. So too do we, and so can you. We will join you back for the final 11 on the first day of dressage here at the Military Buccolo International Horse Trials, celebrating 50 years, their anniversary. We'll be back at 1 o'clock local time.
In Bunders.